Hello and welcome to another how-to video by Daddy D. I'm Mr. D, Daddy D, Guild Daddy D, whatever you like to call me, or just plain D. How are you? Today we're going to be talking about Black Desert Online fishing. In the past few months, there's been some major updates, and I just wanted to cover it for not only people that I know that have asked questions, but also those of you who are out there. You might be new to BDO, you might be new to fishing, you might be new to life skilling altogether. So we're going to cover some of the basics. First off, let's cover what's changed. Basically, back in December, January, around, I'm not sure the exact date, the Pearl Abyss added more and better prize fish. Prize fish, for those of you who don't know, are these redfish. They are basically uber valuable, sushi grade, we'll call them, fish that you can sell to the trade manager for a lot of money. The one thing that affects how much prize fish or how many prize fish you catch is your mastery. So I'm going to preface this by saying you want to get your mastery as high as possible. That being said, there's 4 or 5 major hotspots that people have been fishing since then that have kind of proven the results. We'll cover them from distance from where I'm currently at, but the first one would be northwest or northeast of Valencia City, and that would be out here by Hackavin Island. If you're a barterer, you're very familiar with Hackavin. If not, you might have never noticed this island out here. In between Hackavin and we'll call it East Hackavin, I have no idea if there's a name for this island or if they're both part of the same island, who knows. But you'll see a gaggle of boats in between these islands. There's basically 3 fishing zones. There's the shore, and then there's an intermediate, and then there's the deep channel right through the middle. The deep channel is where you can catch the, if I remember correctly, it's a billion silver fish, or close to it, 920 million we'll call it. And if you catch one of these prize fish and sell it to a trade manager, you're looking upwards of 4 or 5 billion silver for one fish. Now, you should by no means think that these fish are going to get caught at a rate of 2 or 3 or 6 an hour. You're talking about maybe getting one every day or two. But if you average it out over the course of the week, this could lead to substantial AFK earnings. I've heard of people talking about getting one approximately a day. But even if you're only getting a couple a week, and you're averaging, oh, I don't know, 12 or 13 billion a week from AFK fishing, you really can't complain. One of the other spots that's been very popular with fishers is right here at the mouth of the channel going to Hackavin, Tigress Island. Tigress Island is different because you don't have to be on a boat. You have to get a boat to get there, but most people are fishing off the shore. This is where you can also catch the same fish you can catch out at Hackavin. You're going to be catching, yellows, primarily, but you will have RNG chance of catching that fish. Now, temper your expectations. There also might be days where you come back to the screen and you've not caught the big prize fish, but you're basically gambling with your AFK. Southeast of Ilya Island, you also see a bunch of boats sitting out in the channel out here. There is a major prize fish to catch in that location as well that drops fairly common. And when I say fairly common, it's big air quotes. It's not as much as the Hackavin, if I remember correctly, but it's still substantial. We're talking like 700-800 million for the fish. The other spot I've experimented with is right here in Altanova. If you go north of Tunger, there's a dock here. You'll see my mouse cursor circling it, and you'll see a very large group, like a mosh pit of people fishing from there. Extending from the north of Altanova all the way down here south of it through the channel, and you can reach it by fishing off this dock, you can catch the tripod fish. The tripod fish is another prize fish, and it's valued at 720 million silver. When I was catching these, I was averaging 2 to 3 a week, and that is AFK fishing every night. But when you sell those to the trade manager, you're looking at 3.5 to 4 billion silver just for that one fish. So you could see where the money really adds up. Even if you're catching 2 of those a week, you're still looking at 6 to 8 billion silver without really trying hard. For the vast majority of us, we've decided that Velia Beach is continuing to be the hotspot of lure that we have all known it to be. It is the most consistent AFK prize fish money. It is not the most, it is not the least, but pretty much if you park here, you can bank on getting X amount of silver. And what do I say X? X is completely dependent on your gear and fishing level. For me, I average approximately 1.5 billion silver for every 8 to 10 hours I park here. Sometimes RNG decides to kick me in the teeth. Sometimes RNG decides to prop me up on a pedestal. It really is just that, RNG. Prize fish, once again, are these redfish, and they're completely dependent on your mastery. So there's a few things I'm going to talk about to get you to the point where you can give yourself the best opportunity for the best AFK silver. First off, let's cover your gear. I do not have the pen gear of everything. I'm not one of these guys that just, clicked everything until it's gone pen or bought everything. I'm still a work of progress, even though I've been playing the game for 8 years. So I have Tri-Manos fishing clothes. Tri-Manos fishing clothes give me 220 mastery. I pair that with my Manos accessories. I both have Tri-Preone and Tri-Manos. I also have the Tri-Manos fishing chair, which gives me the auto fishing time reduction, which is huge. That is the next best thing for your AFK fishing. I have swiped and bought the Little Otter fishing carrier, which if you were going to make this your primary source of passive income, I would highly suggest looking into purchasing this. I forget how much it is, but just hit F3, it'll open up your Pearl shop and it'll tell you. Currently, normally I use a plus 10 Balanos fishing rod because that gives me the auto fishing time minus 25%. You'll see it there. But I'm currently using the event fishing rod they gave out a few weeks ago. It gives me the auto fishing time reduction as well as another 100 mastery. Now, what I've done for the event fishing rods is I've given myself a gear durability reduction set to go with it. So what does that mean? Well, I use Blacksmith's Blessing artifact set. The gear durability reduction resistance gives me a chance to, when I cast my fishing rod, rather than it using durability, it doesn't use any. So for instance, this fishing rod that has a 1000 durability, if you had just standard buffs across the board, that would be approximately 1000 casts. The more gear durability reduction you have, the more casts you get. I've been using this fishing rod for coming on 2 to 3 weeks. It's not repairable, so I cannot repair it, but that gives me more time to use it to get the buffs. Currently, I am using also a durability reduction resistance pet set. Now, I only have 3 out of the 5 pets that give me that, but it still gives me more durability reduction so that I can use that fishing rod for a long time. When that fishing rod runs out, and it will eventually run out, I would just switch back to my Balanos, and for my pets, I will equip life skill or auto fishing reduction pets, which are, if you scroll down through your list, that's going to be the penguin, gives you a auto fishing time reduction, or the polar bear gives you an auto fishing time reduction, or it's an otter or squirrel or something. It's an auto fishing time reduction. Those 3 pets are the ones that I'm aware of. Now, I've been told mixed reports on whether or not they stack, i.e., if you have one of each, you get all 3 buffs, or no matter which one you have, you just get the 1 buff. So I'll leave you to get onto your search engine of choice and figure it out. For now, I usually have just one of each just because it makes me feel good at night and I sleep better. In addition to that, one of the things you want to do is when you hit your P menu and it opens up your battle stats and your life info, you want to make sure your fishing skill level is at 5. This gives you a 50% reduction to your fishing time. Now, if you're in a guild, usually it's going to be at 3 if your guild master has invested in the guild skills. If not, you might be at 1 or 0 or who knows. But make sure you get that to 5. If you cannot get it to 5 with what you're wearing, like for instance, my Manos fishing clothes give me +2 right here, is use a Verter drought. This gives you fishing +3. There's other droughts and foods and buffs that you can get, but right there, just by wearing the clothes and popping a Verter drought, boom, I'm at 5. Now you can also make these Verter droughts into 60-minute droughts if you want. I'm going to look up the name of the item that does that because I have a whole bunch. The magical elixirs, they usually give them out during events. You can simple alchemy your droughts with those to make them 60-minute buffs. So this way they're not popping them every 15 minutes. There are ways with your fairy to do auto food and things like that, but we'll cover that in a different video. But for now, make sure your fishing is at 5 and make sure you get as high mastery as possible, because if you hover over your mastery on your P menu, you see my prize catch fish rate is 4.88%. If I were to just unequip my clothes and my fishing chair, now it's at 3.75. So my mastery dropped more than 400 and my prize catch fish rate dropped dramatically. So mastery and fishing level are the ways to maximize this, along with your auto fishing time. Now, another thing that you're going to want to invest in is there is a quest line for the fish tank. Now, when you go through the quest line, you will get a 50 slot fish tank, which is fine. It's perfectly fine. This is not one of those items where I'm going to tell you you have to swipe to make it a 100 slot. I just happened to because I had some leftover pearls. But to give you a frame of reference here, if you're fishing overnight, if you are keeping only your prize fish, which are the vast majority of your silver for your AFK fishing, it will be very rare that you fill up a 50 slot. More often than not, I end up with about 30 prize fish, sometimes 24, sometimes as low as 15, but I don't think I've gone more than 32 prize fish in an 8 to 10 hour session. Now, if I'm keeping all my yellows, I will fill up the 100 slot tank, but then I will also have prize fish and yellowfish that end up in my inventory. And that's bad for AFK fishing, and I'll explain that now. When your fish, the longer they sit out, the more they spoil. The fish tank reduces their spoil time. So if you hover over any fish in the game, you'll see the prize guarantee. It'll say 4 days, 13 hours, current value 100%. That fish is good. Let's see if I see any that are below 100. Probably not because I have the fish tank. Okay. So if these fish sat in my inventory overnight, they might be at 82% or even 70%. The name of the game with fishing is to keep these fish at current value of 100%. So I would highly suggest, no, I would tell you you have to, if you're planning on AFK fishing, do the quest line, get the 50 slot fish tank, and then at that point you're at least set up to keep your investment fresh. Think sushi grade fish. The next thing you're going to want to do is when you come up for fishing, like I said, most consistent spot is Velya Beach for me. That's where I set up. No matter where you're fishing, you're going to want to come talk to this god of fishing guy. He's standing on the rock here. He's the only giant. His name's Pagar or Fagar. I'm not sure. But you talk to him, and for 20 energy, he will give you the god of fishing's blessing. What that'll do is that it will give you 8 hours of fishing +1 and luck +1. There are so many tinfoil hat theories over the last 8 years that I've heard of about luck, but really I don't care. Cool, luck's good. If it gives me more redfish, if it does nothing and it's just a placebo effect, whatever. It's that fishing +1 that's huge, especially if you aren't at fishing 5. That will help you dramatically. It'll increase the amount of times you cast per hour, which ultimately it's all about maximizing your cast per hour when you're AFK. So once you get that buff, you go to the fishing place of your choice, and we're going to set up for fishing so I could just illustrate that to those of you who might have never stepped foot in a life skill situation in BDO, or you might be new to the game. When you're standing here, you're like, okay, how do I fish? Well, you click on your change stance, and you select the fishing rod. Boom, there we go. It may have this fishing window here that opens up in the middle of your screen open. It might have it collapsed like that, but you could just hit the drop down here. And the first thing I'm going to tell you that no matter where you fish, check this box, do not board other adventurers' ships. Now, I may or may not be speaking from experience, but there are some evil, evil people in this game, and not just this game. Throughout MMO history, there have been people that do this, that will get on their boats, and they will skim the shoreline all along the shore here. And anybody who doesn't have that might get clipped onto somebody's boat. Well, then the nice thing is you're given a free sightseeing tour. Now, you might come back in the morning and you might be somewhere out here in Magoria and you might not even show up on your map because you're like deep into the ocean. You might just be right here in the middle of Velya Bay. You might be over here on the beach in Termian. Who knows? The most important thing, though, is that you will have made no money. Because the minute they drop you off into the water, you stop fishing. So make sure you have the do not board other adventurer ships. Even if you're just like, hey, that guy was nice, or that girl was really nice. She just wanted to show me a part of the map that I'm not used to seeing. Check the box. Now, these colored fish right here, these are where you could tell your auto fishing computer what fish to keep. These are based on your level, right? So when you hit P and you go to your life info, fishing, I'm Guru 25, so I have them all unlocked. If you're like Apprentice 1, I think you can collect whites. If you're skilled, you could do greens. If you're professional, you could do blues, etc., etc. I think Master unlocks all of them. It's been a while. But basically what you're saying is if you select the white one, ditch everything from white below and keep greens, blues, and yellows. If you select the green, ditch everything green and below, keep the blues and yellows, etc., etc. When I auto fish at night, I select the yellow fish. What that tells the mini game to do is only keep prize fish. Now, if I'm semi AFK, where if I'm, doing something or just distracted, I will select the blue and I will keep all my yellows. For a frame of reference, if I'm fishing for 4 hours and I'm semi AFK, so I'm keeping my yellows and reds, by the time I sell them to the trade manager, it will give me approximately an extra 100 to 150 million for the yellow fishes, sometimes 200 million. For me, the lion's share of my money is the prize fish, so I don't even care about the yellow fish unless I'm just sitting here semi AFK, semi distracted, and I'm just like, just keep everything and sell it. So what do you do with your fish once you catch it? Let's say you come back to your computer and you're like, hey, I've got fish, which we do right here. You sell them to a trade manager. Now, trade manager prices have to do with two different things. One, we talked about it already, the price guarantee, the current value, 100%. Two is the distance from where you caught it. So like for instance, if I just go up here to my trusty Find NPC magnifying glass and I select trade manager, we're going to run right up here to Legia Farm, and I'm going to show you how to do the trading mini game as well as how much money I would catch or how much money I would cash in. So while we're running, I'll talk about last night was a patch night. I completely forgot about it, and I don't know how long I was fishing. As you can see, I do not have a lot of fish in the tank. I think it was 8 fish. So I might have been fishing for 30 minutes. I might have been fishing for 3 hours before the patch. I have no idea. Whatever it is, it's more than I would have made. So it's it's subjective. There's been days where I've come back and I'm going to say my average is about 16 to 20 fish per night. So this is a trade manager. He's also a node manager. I would click on trade, and as you can see right now, that blue bat starfish is 17 million. So if I were to just sell it to him, I would get 17 million. The bargain game is a mini game. It consumes 5 energy, and the whole point of this is to balance his scales. So we're at 17.2 million. We're going to, boldly. Hey, that doesn't happen very often, but cool. All of a sudden, that same fish went up to 23 million. So if I were to sell them all, I would get 142 million. Not bad if it was only an hour of AFK fishing. Horrible if it was 6 hours. So, but just to show you the difference in the trade managers with the distance bonus, we're going to run over here to the well, and I'm going to take it to Land of the Morning Light to Yukjo Street, or however you pronounce UK or YUKJO Street. That's where I sell my fish. There's some people that decide to go all the way to Bukpo because it quote unquote pays more, but I'll talk about that in a second. But we're going to go to Land of the Morning Light via the well. If you have not done your Magnus quest line because you don't like puzzles, you like hurting yourself, you don't like making things easier in the long run, whatever your reason is, do it. It takes a while. It's a whole bunch of like ADHD puzzles, but once you're done, the quality of life increase of just being able to hop in the well and go across Magoria, if not for any other reason, is worth its weight in gold. To use the well, you literally hit R. You go, hey, I want to go here. You select it, you pay the 5 million tax, you jump in, and you fall, and then you pray it doesn't DC your computer. Yes, that happens. Okay, and when you land, through the miracles of science, hey, look at that, I'm in Land of the Morning Light. Now, to show you where I am, this is Yukjo Street. I am literally about 6 seconds from the trade manager. Cool. Makes it super simple for lazy people like me. There are some people, we'll call them the sweaty tryhards, that decide to go all the way up here to Bukpo via autopathing to the trade manager, which is a little wagon wheel here. I've done it 6 times just to see what all the hype is about. Every time I've gone, I've got an average of about an additional 5%. Now, to give you a frame of reference, if I'm making $1.5 billion silver in a night of AFK fishing and I want to be lazy, I go to this guy, I sell it, I go back to the well, go back to Velia, and I'm done. If I go all the way up to Bukpo and back, I might make an extra 100 million silver. For me, not worth it. There's a reason why I've gotten to be try and below in my gear level in 8 years, and I'm not like top gear score NA. I'm lazy. I don't want to sit here and watch my character AFK run back and forth. Now, if there was a well up there, totally different question. Totally different conversation, even. But right now, for me, this is good enough. When I talk to the trade manager, I'm going to put on my silver embroidered trader's clothes because you get trading experience based on the value of what you're selling. So we're going to throw that on. Now, if you remember correctly, we were at 142 million if we sold it at Legia Farms, which, hey, it's silver. But here, whoa, that same fish that was like 17 million, base is 47 million up here because of the distance bonus. If we're going to hit the bargain game here, cost me another 5 energy. Boldly, carefully, carefully, failed. Boldly, carefully, carefully, failed. This is more like normal. So you are going to get very, okay, we had a success. So that took that blue bat star up to almost 64 million silver for that same fish. Yeah, I had to spend 5 million on the well and 5 million to get back, but even considering that, goodness gracious, that is like sushi grade starfish. And so if we're going to sell it, we took that 142 million and more than doubled it. We're now at 333 million. Once again, this might have been 40 minutes of fishing. It might have been 4 hours of fishing. I have no idea. Normally, when I come up here after the end of an 8 to 10 hour AFK session, or what we'll call a soak, I average about $1.5 billion silver. I like to think about it as 150 million an hour. 150 million an hour compared to other activities in this game is not a lot, but if you're going to leave your computer on anyways, and if you want to make a little extra silver, that's the way to do it. I mean, you're talking 40 billion silver over the course of a month if you do it every day of the month. That is huge for your gear progression. It's huge for your wallet. It's just a fun time. The last thing I'll cover is the most important thing, whether you go to this trader or any other trader, is the trade distance. It's super easy to figure out what trade manager is farthest from where you're fishing. You open up your Find NPC, you literally type in trade manager, hit enter. All of the trade managers will come up. Now, I'm in Land of the Morning Light right now. Let's say I wanted to see which one's further, Valencia or Grana. I can go to Valencia, and if you select it, it will come up with a number here in the direction of your autopath, 27,670. I have no idea what that is. Feet, miles, tons, inches, millimeters. Who knows? You could say whatever your country of choice's unit of measurement is, that's it. I'm going to say it's 27,000 miles. Sounds good. So 27,670 miles versus Grana. 20,600 miles. So in this case, if I was deciding where I was going to fish, I would instantly know that from this trade manager, I'm going to get more for my fish that I catch out by Valencia than I would to Grana. When I go back to Velia here in a minute, and we can actually do it while we're talking, even though I already know, I know that if I use that same trick from where I'm standing, where I catch that fish, the node, that Bukpo is further. It's like 100 extra miles. It's like 19,400 miles versus 19,500 miles. So if I was a very, min-maxy tryhard, I would say, oh, well, I got to take it up to Bukpo and sell that. Really, to me, the 100 extra units of measurement it takes me to autopath all the way out there, not really worth it. But the difference between Grana and Valencia being 6,000 miles is huge. So when you are trying to decide, okay, I've got all this fish, I went AFK fishing, now what? You really need to look on, okay, what trade manager do I take it based on the distance? That is going to drastically increase your profit for literally 30 seconds worth of effort. So to sum it all up, if I was going to AFK fish again, let's say I just came back, I woke up, I looked at my computer, I cashed out on my fish, now it's time to get ready for work, so I'm going to get ready to go again. Make sure to repair your gear. If you're using a repairable fishing rod, which I'm not, just showing you, come over down here to the beach, Velia hotspot, talk to the god of fishing, that giant standing up on the rock, get your 8-hour buff, and then either take the well to where you're fishing or just cozy up to one of these neighbors. I don't like to be next to anybody's stinky pets, so all these horses, whatever. Do not set yourself up in the water And if you do, make sure you have the checkbox I showed you, because that person is just asking to get scooped. Your fishing rod can activate from back here on the beach. Change your stance, go to fishing, select what type of fish you want to hold, check your box, hit space. Now the last thing I will cover before I close out this video is if you are active fishing and you want to power level yourself up. If you have a whole bunch of energy, which is the little bicep curl up here, I'm currently at 371. To activate fishing, you just press spacebar. But if you want to give yourself a chance to catch more fish or better quality fish, you can press and hold spacebar. You'll see this gray fishing rod in the middle of my screen and it lights up red. If you let it go all the way to the top, it will consume 10 energy, and then when you let go, it'll cast out. Now this gives you an RNG chance to catch more fish or better fish. The most fish I've ever caught on one single cast was 4 goldfish with 2 ancient relic shards and 2 silver keys, all on the same cast. Some people say they've caught more, some people say they don't. It's complete RNG. There are times where you'll do this and only catch a greenfish. The point is, if you're active fishing and you want to give yourself a chance to actively level up faster, or if you're doing a guild mission or something where you have to catch more yellows faster or whatever, and you want to try to catch 3 blues or 3 yellows, whatever the point may be, this is a good way to do it. So that covers just about the basics and some of the more advanced things about fishing. If you guys have any questions, any comments, any concerns, you can post on this video. You can look me up on Discord. You can find me on Twitch. Otherwise, just keep an eye out for more how-tos, more tutorials, and I will talk to you at the next video. Have a great day.